good. Waiting to see some eyeballs on stream before we, do the thing.
I hate not having access to my style list. And here it is turning into a giant mass. I need to thin out my layers again.
Well, hello, friends. If you can hear and see us, do say hello.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, everybody.
Eyeballs.
We may or may not really be here.
I see a Pook. Hi, a Pook.
Yay!
Can you hear us?
Can you hear us?
Eyeballs.
Miss you a poop.
Howdy, Scott. Alfred's here. Good to see you, friend. We can see and hear. So nice.
All right.
Hey,
Huzzah.
got all kinds of amazing people in chat today.
Oh.
Jacob Blackmon. Weren't we talking about Jacob today?
We were.
I knew it. Nice. Alex is here. Mon frere. Theron Bretts. Am I saying that correctly? I'm only here to butcher names. Colin's here. Hi, Colin. Of Lost Citadel fame. What were we saying about you, Jacob? You're going to have to wait and find out. Believe me, you will find out. Hey, David Body's here. Hi, David. Afternoon to you.
What's up? Man, it's 2:03 and we are broadcasting. What the
I
heck?
know.
I don't
the hell?
even, like I said, I wasn't going to say anything because I don't want to jinx it.
Right.
I mean, we could come back in half an hour.
Right.
Yeah,
It's true.
exactly. All right, everyone, we're just going to... Close enough, Theron. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, my friend. I'm bad at that. 15 people, I think we might as well do it, right?
Mm-hmm.
We'll
The
transition.
technical difficulties this week are actually in my spine.
Oh, there we go. You can't hear the music, can you? It's so nice. Everyone, can you hear me and music on this fine Mutants and Masterminds Monday, where we get to hang out with two titans of the TTRPG space world at large.
You've got Owen coming on?
Right.
Quiet you, Crystal Frazier. Welcome. Steve Kenson as well. Hello, friends. Give us the we hear you and the music. That is great. And
Amazing.
yeah, you hear Steve. Steve, say hi.
Hi, everybody.
And Crystal.
Hi, everybody.
Fantastic.
Troy running back and forth, spinning dials, and
I
flipping
am.
levers.
I literally am. I'm
It's
trying.
It's like that scene in Metropolis where they're like working the giant clock hands.
Yeah.
Right.
Just like near ready to fall over, screaming, "Father, why have you done this to me?"
And it's even more difficult when you're disembodied.
Yes, it's true.
Every
Week.
Every week, Troy
That's me.
is
Yeah.
crying his father.
I am. Yeah, I am. All right. Well, friends, we are having a special day today. I am a fan of this particular topic primarily because to see one of the three of us is it's a very Brady M&M Monday. Thank you, Alex Thomas. It certainly is. It's got a little lounge music playing in the background. But one of us is, I think we can say honestly that we love maps, but the Mutants and Masterminds Monday sort of cast, one of us is maybe more of a map nerd than the rest. I don't want to point any fingers because I don't have any, but I'm talking about Crystal.
What? Right. No, Steve.
I think it's you.
Crystal and I are both map nerds, but only one of us can actually draw maps, as you will see.
Fair enough.
I think they will see that my maps are also terrible when they're rough.
Oh, you know what I didn't do today? I didn't check the status of the Patreon. Because we're at 59 people last I looked.
Nice.
And yeah, really nice. And we are releasing a new dossier today, a new stat block. And who is it?
To Ember, aren't we?
No, we did Ember last week. Is it Ember?
It's Empath.
Yes.
Yes.
All the characters very...
Sorry,
Yeah, there's Crystal has the pantheon of mutants and masterminds in her head, but yeah, the apt, like, we really named these fairly easily, like they're all E's, and then then we've got, I think, what is next? Is it Jump?
Yeah,
Jump.
Yeah,
they're not. Jump doesn't start with an E.
Well, I'm just saying it's all E's and then a J and then a P.
But
am I right?
Argent doesn't start with an E.
I mean, it's A's and then the E, and then it's you know what? Alphabet is not my strong suit.
A and E and sometimes J.
Sometimes J, and then wrap it all up with Professor P. Right? Professor S. Professor P. No, yeah.
This week is also going to be when we drop our first survey to find out what people want us to convert next.
Like clockwork. We talked about it last week, said everybody prepare yourselves spiritually and emotionally. And so, and now the people that get to vote at what tier is that?
Oh, God.
I think it's the...
Really spring the hard questions.
I know, right?
Right. This is the kind of hard-hitting
Troy,
journalism.
This is really your domain, Troy. Why don't you tell us what to expect?
Well, what we can expect is a rapidly scrolling Troy who tried to pass the buck and failed. The Patreon-only voting power most certainly applies to Prime, and I believe also Hero. And I'm working backwards, of course. Prime being 25 per month, and then the Hero tier is 15 per month, and that's that. So those two tiers, Hero and Prime, of which we have many, will be voting on who's next. And did we want to give a little sneak peek at maybe some thoughts as to who we might be having them vote on? Or?
I mean, we covered that last week. So
we did indeed.
Do people want us to retread, or
I think they we can update them later.
Yeah, we can.
I think
People are more than welcome to drop in the comments, like individuals or groups they want to see.
This is your chance, friends.
Well, so.
Yeah,
Yes.
This is your chance for sure. Because the good news is, no matter what tier you're at, you get something good. You get some good stat block goodness. Let's see, there's that. Is there other things? Sure, we've got some other things to mention, like we have the Humble Bundle popped off this morning. That we'll talk about a little bit later. And then I feel like there's something else I'm missing. What is it? I don't know. I'll think about it. I'll forget it and remember it just at the 5 minutes after I'm supposed to tell you.
Well, To the Moon dropped last week. So
That is true.
It sure did.
People should pick that up. It has more primates per pound than any other Mutants and Masterminds adventure.
And that's a bargain at any price.
Yeah, the previous record holder was, I believe, The Reign of Cats and Dogs, which only had a single gorilla.
See?
Well, there was Primate Patrol way back when, but that's certainly not in this
We
edition.
should put them on the list to update.
We really should, actually. Talk about some classic characters we should update.
Right.
You know, Jacob Blackmon says, and I think this might be a suggestion for the for a vote in the Patreon, but is it cattle? CATL? Is that some?
ATL?
Moon Apes for the win, says Apuk. Agreed, my friend. I don't know. Jacob, could you just, tell us what you mean by that?
Use your words, Jacob.
There are 19 years of canon to sort
Right.
through.
None of us has it all memorized.
Not at all. The
And
cat.
I've got Silver Age Sentinels mixed in here. I've got Heroes
Right.
Unlimited. I've got Champions.
Jacob says the
mentioned, like,
cat. I think CATL was a typo.
Cattle.
The cat. Just is there?
I mean, I don't know. Are we allowed to update defunct cartoon series? Because I'll update the, I'll stat up the Wild West Cowboys of Moo Mesa.
Right.
Deep cuts here
Who
on
even owns that?
Deep cuts on Mutants and Masterminds Monday. Jacob says the cat is a mind controlling cat from one of the the second edition Hero High villain supplements. Of course, from Jacob we get the.
Oh, right. Now we have Flitter, who is the evil mind controlling goldfish.
Goldfish.
Looks like Raina says I remembered what it was. I remember the thing, you two. Put it on your calendars. This is the day. We are in negotiations right now with a certain Alex Thomas to play. He is gonna GM for us.
This is a
Yes,
long-held dream of the disembodied Troy, by the way, is to get us to play Mutants and Masterminds on stream.
You should see me. I'm sitting alone.
We're going to be playing Mutants and Masterminds on stream?
Yes. And you get to play. You get to play. You're not going to run it. You're going to play. I mean, you'll end up running it because it's just kind of that, that's your thing.
But I know that later today I'm going to be playing Mutants and Masterminds with Alex over on his channel.
Which is awesome.
Everybody should tune in after that.
Yeah,
or after this to watch.
And that's on the Untold Stories. Untold Stories project. We'll get some links out there and send some stuff because watching Crystal play, watching Alex run, it's a lot of fun. But yeah, and then so we get to play, and as I understand it, this is really a dream of mine, a dream come true. At home late at night when I'm just sort of hanging out there by myself, I have my Steve Kenson and my Crystal Frazier, and we all sit around the table when we play. But it's just me with my little stuffed friends.
I was gonna say, is that the little plushies you had made of us?
Yes,
is that
it
why
is.
you needed my hair?
Is that what those are for?
Yes. I should take a picture and let everybody see it. It's a little creepy, but it is a vision that will linger. Thank you, Jonesy, for dropping
Already
links.
has.
Yeah, exactly. Jonesy's dropping links in the chat. If you've got questions or thoughts or ideas or comments, do share, and we will. It gives me the opportunity to interrupt with purpose as opposed to my general interrupting with no purpose. It's maps and settings day.
Yes.
Let's talk about what that is about.
Well, a map is a graphical representation of a region, usually to scale, but not always, showing how it interacts with and relates to other areas.
That is a very good definition of what, I'm buying it.
I mean, maps have a long and storied history when it comes to gaming, even when the very first fantasy games were basically all about, mapping out little squares in a dungeon, or when they moved on to wilderness adventures, were about mapping out regions in 24-mile hexes, so far as that goes. But, a lot of our early fantasy stories were all about, the map of these fascinating new worlds. And that was often how we really got into those worlds and visualized what they were like and where everything was.
Talk to me a bit about the process of because it seems to me, as we kind of look back on, and I've had an occasion to kind of go over some of our older content, we have definitely begun to kind of flex our map muscles, really, as time kind of progressed forward. Can you talk a bit about like the difference between, say, hand drawing a map and then sort of like, have we always worked with cartographers, or let's just talk a bit about that.
I mean, yeah, we've been working with cartographers for, God, the game industry's been working with cartographers for years. But I mean, back in the day, the maps were a lot more simple, and for the last 10 years or so, they've been very, very detailed. But I think the industry is kind of moving more towards those simpler maps. At the very least, D&D is moved back towards very simple maps.
Yeah.
I will forever love the very detailed maps because it makes me think, what's that? What's that? What's that?
I love the thought that there's room for both, though.
Sure. And I think that there's, a difference in style when you're dealing with modern day superhero settings that use more modern day conventions for maps, than, say a fantasy world where you want a more artistic, sort of fantastical design to the map, so far as that goes.
Yeah, and in terms of like the maps you produce for gaming in general, most of it is just there to, sometimes a game engine is very much a tactics simulator, so the map is there kind of as your game board, like a board game, to give you options and kind of constrain what you can and can't do and force you to get creative sometimes. But a lot of the time, the map is just there to sort of help with theater of the mind and give you an idea of where everyone is in relation to each other and help you sort of get involved in the story. Help you immerse yourself. There we go.
I love that. And with the advent, or with the sort of the increased use of VTTs, it becomes maybe even more of an interesting sort of element.
That's certainly true.
VTTs can be, if it's just talking, then it can get a little boring. So having visual aids you can pass out to people kind of helps keep everyone engaged, keeps everyone sort of thinking the same thing. Like, you're fighting the villain, and they're up in the air over a giant pile of cars. But like, is it 2 cars piled up? Is it like a pyramid of twisted steel? Is
right.
Understand the scale, and like, are there streetlights I can jump off of? Is there fire hydrant I can rip up and try and douse this guy?
Does the fence have barbed wire on top of it?
Yeah, how are we looking at north? What's north, in the context of this particular map, And
we don't really need the detailed tactical maps for superhero encounters, because half the sample characters in the Deluxe Heroes Handbook have movement powers that'll put them off the map in a single move action. So you don't need to worry too much about tactics. It's mostly just about helping people understand the fight, understand what's going on.
Yeah, maps provide a lot of context.
Yeah, feel like they're part of the city.
I love it. I'm looking at I'm doing a couple quick.
And then there's the city maps themselves.
Right. Yes. And you two have provided some, sorry, I'm looking.
Yeah, we provided a couple of sketches for you to share, Troy.
I sure do. Let's see if we can do this without, just ruining the whole day. Looking at where would we like to start? We want to start with Emerald City?
We can start with Freedom City, because that's the chronologically first one.
Perfect. And let's do it.
Oh, man. I wonder if I still have all my old campaign. I used to run a superheroes game. Like, changed systems a couple of times, but it was in the same setting.
Some great comments.
I have the city map somewhere.
Some great comments, and do folks, if you're running into any trouble, we have got lots of people who are tuning in right now, a lot, and I do mean a lot of people, and I'm not even making it up this time. Let's see, great comments here. Oh, great! Folks are dropping links to map resources. That's phenomenal.
Oh, nice. There's.
No, I want to see those.
Oh, I'm trying to remember the Reddit I follow.
Is it Battle Maps?
Our map porn or something like that.
Oh, okay, that's
our battle map.
Yeah, that's that. Alex Thomas dropped our battle maps in there. That's great.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. Strange Maps.
Oh,
Strange Maps is great.
Oh, Strange Maps, is that on Reddit?
Twitter account.
Oh, nice. And so that's great. We'll have to check that one out for sure. Apook says, I love Freedom City. Now, I've got the map up right now, and I'm presuming everyone can hear us. We're looking at Freedom City 1, and
Mythic Maps is great.
It's a little on the... it is rustic, I'll say.
Yeah, that is a really low res.
Vintage.
It's vintage,
to say the least.
I do
of
like it, though.
Like terrible hand drawn concept map. But that was the original concept map when I was first designing Freedom City. Was just like putting everything in context so that I just had a rough idea of where things were geographically in relationship to everything else. And that I could kind of fit in all of the various features into the city that I wanted to, so far as that went. So I had a rough, just kind of guideline so far as that goes.
And so
It
talk to me.
I think it looks good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it served its purpose so far as that went.
I mean, ultimately, that's all a map needs to do.
Right, and just give context. And my question for you, Steve, is: so you put this together, and then you handed this over to whom?
So that sketch basically ended up in the hands of Hal Mangold, our art director. And when he was art directing Freedom City, he then commissioned an artist to redraw that map for the original map that was in the first edition of Freedom City.
I can't see. Are we sharing?
We are,
sharing
yeah.
The map sketch. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm gonna transition. Everybody in a stream, do let me know if you can hear Steve and Crystal and myself and see this beautiful. Sort of the genesis of what I'm going to show you next. There is a difference.
Yeah, to say the least.
I'm going to
It's
transition.
subtle, but see if you can pick it up.
Let's see if you can pick up the difference. Yeah. Wow. That's
So that is the beginning of after Freedom City First Edition. Philip Leno, who is a professional cartographer, was really liked the Freedom City stuff. Philip did the original map of Aldia for Blue Rose for us, and when Freedom City came along, Philip took a look at the one-page little redraw of my map, essentially, and started playing around with it, as he put it. To nerd out about urban design, and he sent me that concept map and was like, "So what do you think of this?" And I'm like, "Can you do more of that? Like a lot more, and we'll pay you money."
it's amazing.
Right, because it's a fantastic map, and that's basically the beginning of what eventually became the complete Freedom City map that's in the second and third editions of the book, where Philip obviously provided tons more detail to the city on all levels as far as that went, and addressed a lot of conceptual things where he was just like, well, in urban planning it works this way. And if you want it to be like this in the city, there's really no reason for that. So those kinds of things. When we were working on the Freedom City Atlas projects, PDFs, Philip was pretty instrumental in coming up with a lot of the cartography and design for those as well, because he also does architectural design. So we were talking about things like Pyramid Plaza and its weird, twisted triple towers. And Philip was the one who basically worked out the whole design about, he's like, this is how you could actually build something like that, and worked out the whole design maps for them in terms of, and then did the orthographic representation of what that would look like as far as it went.
Jonesy, thank you so much for dropping those links. Dropping a link to the Freedom City collection. Okay, I love that. That's great. My question for you, Steve, is when we're looking at this map, were you trying to mimic or is there a real world inspiration, or were there multiples to
yeah, there's a bunch of them. As the real original sketch map clearly demonstrates, I was working on a section of the New Jersey coastline because the original map even calls out where Atlantic City is and the Jersey Turnpike, basically, that runs along the coast.
There we go.
So I was using that section of coastline just to get sort of a realistic looking coastline as far as that went. And beyond that, Freedom City is sort of an amalgam of a lot of East Coast metropolises.
Yeah.
There are definitely elements of New York and Boston and Philadelphia and the like in its overall makeup. The design of the city, where there's Hanover to the north of the Wading River, is very much like Cambridge in Boston, and very inspired by that. But the central peninsula of Freedom City is much more Manhattan-like.
Sure.
In its overall design. So it was just to echo the whole sort of great East Coast metropolis sort of concept.
You know, I'll tell you, looking at both of these as I am sort of, sort of as we put them up, they both are very evocative. Like I love both versions of them. But let's see, I think it was Scott Alford said, as a person who loves his magic heroes, Lantern Hill is one of my favorite locations. So
Me too.
I want to talk a little bit maybe about the anatomy. I know we've got some other maps to go through, but so when we look at the anatomy, we talked a bit about sort of the real world inspirations for these spaces. When do you start sort of assigning the flavor for these particular pieces, like the magic? You know, it sounds like Lantern Hill, and I'm not particularly familiar yet, but we'll be playing for, I think, 5 or 6 hours when Alex runs a game for us. I'll get it'll be a 24-hour stream. But when do you start to assign kind of where things happen?
Well, some of it was from the get-go. I wanted certain things in the city, and I wanted an area that was kind of the spooky magical area, and so Lantern Hill is heavily inspired by both Beacon Hill in Boston and Shadow Hill from Astro City, and just the notion of this sort of colonial Gothic sort of area of the city that's both really steeped in history and also has a lot of that almost sort of Lovecraftian sort of colonial New England element to it.
Say that one more time for the dim-witted, the colonial malignant.
Well, like colonial New England. Lovecraft wrote a lot about Providence and about various analogs to other places in New England, and so a lot of that went into Lantern Hill as well.
That makes more sense than malignant. I don't know if that's a word
Yes.
or if I'm being offensive in some accidental way. I do apologize in advance, but that wouldn't be
So
the first time.
yeah, some parts of the city were just like I need to find a place to put this because I know I want it there, and other parts of it were just looking at the geography and saying, okay, something needs to go here, as far as that goes.
I love it, and all right, we've got YouTube back on stream. Alex Thomas says, "Wait, what?" I'm just kidding, Alex. It won't be 24 hours, but Alex says, "If we do a 24-hour charity stream, I'm down, but we're gonna have to round robin GM it." Nope, it's you all the time, Alex. Just you.
And we'll round robin the players so we get a chance to rest.
Yeah, and I'll send you my.
Where are the celebrities?
Yeah, I'll send you my Steve and Crystal plushies, so they can get a nap in. But
You
yeah,
said you would never share those.
we just all snuggie at night, and then we wake up and play. It's really fun. That is more than semi-creepy. All right, so where are we moving on to next?
I think Emerald City is next.
All righty, Emerald City is next, and
We
let's.
really should have gotten John on to talk about Emerald
Yeah,
City.
I know, right?
Yeah, so John Polajak?
John Lighthouse.
Oh, John Lighthouse. Oh,
Who
excellent.
did development on Emerald
Yeah,
City.
the man behind Emerald City.
Well, fantastic. We'll have to do that for sure. And I know we have been kind of threatening to bring in some cartographers, some people that have worked on, and artists and things. So we'll definitely dig into that for some fun in the new year. But here we go. I've got the first version up. And
This is the incredibly bare bones Emerald City concept map.
I like it.
I do too.
Where it was like, okay, it's sort of, we know it's in the Pacific Northwest. We know we want there to be mountains. And that was about the extent of it.
It's like the outlet for the Columbia River.
In fact, that was the inspiration for the basic geography.
No, if I look close enough, I live right there. There I am.
Right? Like I can see right on this map where my house would be.
Right, yeah. The detail is...
I can see my house from here.
From here.
Exactly. Theater of the mind, indeed. Now, the interesting thing about this is... well, actually, I'm going to transition to Emerald City 2, because in this instance, it is not dramatically different.
Yeah,
Same basic
outlines.
map, but this is where we start filling in a lot more detail in terms of where things are or might be or what things are called.
Interesting, because it was originally the Bronze River.
It was originally the Bronze River. I think John changed it. I'm not sure.
John.
John. Yes. Everyone could see that all right, I'm hoping, in the chat. I want to welcome a couple people who have just popped in on our hanging out over on the YouTubes. Welcome, friends. And, of course, on Facebook, say hi and, ask any questions. We will make up answers or, outright ignore you. But, no, we would never ignore you. But, yeah, so this is great. And then, and so... and I haven't checked out sort of any of the other supplemental or sort of supporting stuff for Emerald City, but do we provide, are there city maps or kind of things or neighborhoods or aspects? Yeah.
Yep.
That's awesome. And you'll find that at the link that Jonesy dropped in the chat, and we'll include that in our quote-unquote show notes, and make sure everyone can get a link to the Emerald City product line.
And this particular map was one of those things that I recall inspired bits of the sort of culture in Emerald City. I remember we talked about the fact that on this map, the Eastern District is west of the South Shore, which is north of the Eastern District, and that we ended up writing a sidebar that talks about the fact that people in Emerald City have this sort of perverse pride about the fact that there are a bunch of places in the city where the directional names are completely nonsensical. And that trying to get directions from someone in Emerald City is difficult if you're not a local, because they take a certain delight in the fact that things are not in the direction that you would think they are, given what they're named.
I gotcha. Yeah, our friend Theron on Facebook chat says, I would happily pay for a PDF map of Emerald City that didn't have enormous spoiler for the Silver Storm marked on Council Island.
That.
Yeah.
Live and learn.
We got the same sort of municipal style map for Emerald City.
Right. I think that'd be pretty great.
That would be, yeah. Okay, so
what I'm angling for in my project.
Speaking of which,
yeah, we're ready to move to Farrowburg.
Yeah, we're ready to move to Farrowburg.
Let's do that.
So these are
helpful hint:
sketches.
Don't move to Farrowburg.
Do not move to. What are you talking about? Land values are skyrocketing.
I was gonna say, how are the land values in Farrowburg? Can everybody see Farrowburg?
So yeah, these are two very different maps that have a fun story. When I first pitched Farrowburg as sort of the back third of the Vigilante's Handbook, as like a combo setting book, like genre book, so I just made a quick map to figure out I want this kind of district and this kind of district, and I want it to kind of look like Pittsburgh and kind of like Philadelphia and a little bit Detroit and maybe a little bit St. Louis. And so I started working all that out and started jotting down place names, and then I lost this version of the map. So when I sat down to write, I had forgotten all of the place names I came up with, because all of my notes for Farrowburg were, I need the slums and the bad slums and the haunted slums and the business district and the rich district and the sort of upper middle class gentrifying district.
But all the actual names were on the map.
Yeah, most of the actual names were on the map for easy reference.
Oh, and so
I had to make a new map from memory, which is
that's the next version.
Yep, that's the next one that Troy has.
All right, let me put this together just for me and anybody who is as simple as I am. So what we're looking at now is the one that you misplaced. So
Yep.
in your vast collection of
The
digital
one that
sort
I
of
misplaced
things.
like a year and a half ago.
So the time between this and the map that we're going to show next, which I'm
So yeah,
transitioning
when it
to,
cut-
this
when
is
it came
the
time to start writing the actual gazetteer, I had to sit down and remake the map from memory first. So I
Crystal.
feel like I did a pretty good job.
holy crap. That is remarkable. That is
Right?
really
But yeah,
well done.
Only remembered a couple of the names and made up the rest, but just last week while I was cleaning up some old files, I found the first map, which is why I have a scan of it.
So this is honestly like, yeah, you could kind of put that, shucky darns. I wish I would have done a better side by side, but I want to be able to kind of have them large enough so you can see. But well done, sister. That's you've got some
Right.
recall. We've got some comments in chat. Somebody said, Apook said, ooh, Farrowburg. Hey, Sean, glad you, Sean Duggan is here, says danged work. And
So
I know, right?
Probably going to make a third version of the map that combines features from both of them.
I love it.
Because I like the geography of the first one better, but I like sort of the organization of the second one.
But you can really see, so there we go. So we're looking at the second. I'm going to transition. So this is the first again, and you can kind of see all the naming conventions and stuff, and then we'll switch back
I
to
really
the...
like New Ithaca. And I'm
Right.
not just saying that because I grew up near Ithaca, New York. Well, before my family relocated. But...
there's some people that have some thoughts about Farrowburg.
Yeah.
Jonesy says, my Eminem moved out of Farrowburg. Let's see. Sean Duggan says, Farrowburg, oh Farrowburg, most worn down burg you ever heard of.
Yes, this is the most I've talked about Farrowburg so far, but we're calling it the Sunset City. I've got to rename the Red River because I completely spaced that that's a major river in Emerald City.
City is
So maybe
also
I'll
the Red
rename it the
River.
Bronze River.
I like that. Well, yeah, we did talk about that a bit. Oh, Liz Court says, "Oh, them skills, Crystal Fraser." I know it's
Just as many areas in Freedom City are named after some of Steve's favorite comic artists, there are a couple of things in Farrowburg named after my favorite comic personalities, like East Laird Island.
I'm looking at I'm trying to guess what the other one might be, but
Now I see Brubaker.
Abbott Island.
Yeah.
I-80. No?
Oh, yes,
Yes.
that... well known for Hulk comics, I assume.
Right. That well-known comic book drawing droid.
Right. I love it. Thrawn says,
I wanted
nice.
to... I mean, I like I mentioned, I spent a lot of time in sort of upstate New York during that period of the 80s and 90s where it was sort of dying.
Yep.
So I saw, like, upstate New York and western Pennsylvania just kind of trickle away, and all these old mill towns sort of go belly up, and so I pulled a lot of influence from that and the big industries of the time. So like there's a whole network of channels between the industrial district in Farrowburg leading down to the docks, and like conveying some of the scope of like these big factories that have just been sitting empty for 40 or 50 years. And we've updated what's going on a little bit from what little you see in
The Atlas.
the Super Team, the Atlas and the Super Team handbook, where the city's starting to see a new sort of tech boom as companies move into this cheap urban space with lots of available housing for their workers. But there's definitely a huge divide between the people moving in who have these steady jobs and the people who've lived here forever who need jobs, but all of this economic activity just doesn't benefit them that much.
I'm telling you, I don't know if you're watching very closely. You're not because you can't see Crystal as she's speaking to the maps. But Crystal, you go to there. you go to that place and you think of it. You think of the people and the movement and the build up and the decline, and it's one of those moments. It's why I love Mutants and Masterminds Monday, because we get to crawl, inside the noggin and sort of see work. Unfortunately, I've done the thing where you say, I say unfortunately, but I'm joking. John Polajak, you say Polajak, and then he appears and he says, out of the ether, canonically, do the fictional cities Freedom, Emerald, Fairyburg take the place of any real world counterparts, or are they all in addition to such locales and DC? And we talked a bit about that earlier in stream. Unfortunately, John, I didn't summon you early enough, but
I mean, not directly one for one, but I think it's more like DC, where you can kind of see the world being a little bit bigger, and there's more cities dotted throughout it. It's really easy to replace New York City with Freedom City, or replace I would say probably Philadelphia with Fairyburg, and probably replace Portland with Emerald City.
Yeah, you certainly could. But the notion was that, because especially when we started with Freedom City, the notion was that you would put Freedom City exactly where you wanted it to be. So we weren't specifically saying exactly where it was. But I tend to agree with Crystal that the notion is that Earth Prime is sort of like DC's Earth, and that all these fictional cities coexist with all of the real world ones we know.
Now, Crystal, I was going to ask you real quickly. You talked about naming conventions and some of those things. Did we want to explore sort of a little extra something fun for Red River, or was it Red River? Is that?
Oh yeah, the Red River for Fairyburg. Well, obviously, I mean, we could keep it the same, but it's a little confusing to have the Red River at Fairyburg and the Red River for Emerald City. So I need to rename it. I mean, I only realized that mistake like 24 hours ago. So I haven't figured out a good name for it. I wanted to call it the Red River because part of the shtick with the area is that the hills around Fairyburg were so rich with iron deposits that all the wash coming off of them was tainted bright red by all the iron in the soil. So you find this blood red river.
What else are you going to call it?
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, we could call it the Blood River. That's very Bloodhaven. For anyone who read Nightwing. There's actually a district in the city called Rosenblut, or Blood Red. So
Alex Thomas said
the Rose River.
Alex Thomas says the Rust River. Theron says Iron River. Oh, 2 votes for Iron. Yeah, okay. Bronze River.
I was also thinking the Erie River because, the Erie Canal was a big deal at the time. Lake Erie was a major shipping hub for all of the big Rust Belt cities. So with the implication that the river leads back to Lake Erie eventually.
And a Red River, kind of eerie.
Yeah.
That is definitely Erie, for sure.
Actually ridden on the Erie Canal. It's delightful.
Is it really? I mean, what is the vibe like?
It's not eerie.
It's not eerie at all.
Everybody, they want you to think it's eerie. They call it eerie. It's just a river.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a canal. You get pulled along by a donkey.
Wait, what?
You do.
A river donkey? Like a mer donkey?
Yeah, it's like a mer donkey.
Nice.
You don't have mer donkeys here in Seattle?
No, no mer donkeys.
All over in New England.
Yeah, we just have the what do we have? This is it the Sammamish water weird thing? It's like a cryptid. Oh, I've been doing some.
You're thinking of the tree octopus.
Oh, there's those too. That's right. Yeah, there is those too.
Those aren't aquatic though.
No.
Do
not put those back in the water. They will drown.
Yeah. You don't want to do that, and they get very upset about getting soggy. I've got a couple folks here. Apuk says the Industry River, and Sean Duggan asks, so is this a rebrand worn downtown like Pittsburgh, or an actually worn down like Flint or Detroit? So we said Philadelphia, kind of, right? I mean, it's sort of
kind of Philadelphia, kind of Pittsburgh, kind of Detroit. I mean, it's pulling from a lot of different a lot of different Rust Belt cities where, you know, it mostly depended on steelwork and auto manufacturing, railroads, and then when the bottom fell out of that in the 70s, they didn't really have anything to pivot to.
Alex Thomas says, "Wait, there are tree octopi? Have you never been to Seattle?"
I don't think he knows about the tree octopus.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, you gotta see them.
I mean, they don't live in the city. They're very sensitive. They live out on like the peninsula.
Liz Court says, "Yeah, river mules. Yeah, river mules.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Yeah,
why not?
That's the thing.
I am. Oh well, look at this. I've got a something coming from a friend of ours, and I'll get that ready to show. Stan, whom I stand personally. You know, Stan has been.
Has Stan already made a river mule?
I don't know, but whether it's a river mule or who can say?
Or
who
tree
can
octopus,
say?
or possibly both.
Stan is one of my, I don't mean to sort of set up a sort of a competition between anybody, Liz Courts, and Stan, for art to show live. I would never do such a thing. Go, do it.
Troy.
I would never do that. I'm saying I would never.
That, Troy.
I would never. Yeah, Alex Thomas says, I have not been to Seattle yet. We're going to have to remedy that because I'll tell you, the minute that we are in the all clear to be able to hang out with each other and have some fun, we got to make some arrangements because, boy, I'm telling you, I do love the streaming. I do. I really do. But having a meeting or having a get-together or being, together at a convention of some kind will be, I don't even know if my brain will be able to handle the serotonin of it all. Let's see. Who would win in a fight between a river mule and a tree octopus?
I mean, that's not fair. They have very different biomes.
Yeah, they
fight
really
in the water or in the trees.
Yeah, or the space between sort of the tree and the water. I mean, yeah, that's
yeah.
Sean Duggan says rivers probably caught fire more times too. Yeah, I can see that for sure.
Actually, that comes up in the city's history.
Yeah, it does.
That was more of an Ohio thing.
But still, it's very atmospherically appropriate.
Scott Alford says, will there come a day where there'll be a map made by either of you that is set in Europe, Asia, Africa, or Oceania?
Oh, God, I would love to do just a lot more in Africa in general. Because,
yeah.
I mean, there's so much cool new urban development that we never get to see here in the West.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
true.
just our media only really cares about Africa if there's like a war or a drought or.
Indeed.
I love it. Yeah, let's see. We've got.
And it's worth mentioning, just because we do, that those little bits and pieces are again a great opportunity once we start doing some original articles for the M&M Patreon. For us to maybe dip back into the Atlas of Earth Prime and explore some of those places that we've only covered briefly.
I would love to write some fiction for Prime Detective.
Right?
Very nice.
I have favorites. I'm not going to pretend I don't.
Yeah.
Although Hellscreamer is really cool.
Theron says Nigerian superhero comics are awesome.
Oh, I have not gotten to read any.
I know. We have to check that out for sure. And I'm hanging out with. Let's see. Let's get.
What is this?
Checking
what
our.
Is this Stan sent us?
Oh, there we go. I see. It did not stand. So if you can send that again, I am only now receiving your message, your transmission. And Raina says, I used Google Earth for a map of Lagos. It worked out pretty well. Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, I steal coastlines all the time for my maps.
Yeah. Yeah, we're remarkably spoiled in this day and age to be able to basically get a satellite map of anywhere on Earth pretty much whenever we want it.
Right. When I was in high school, I had to get my mom to take me to the library so I could look at the atlas and get my notebook paper out and trace.
Yep. If you were lucky, maybe they had a photocopier.
But yeah, even then, it was 10 cents per copy.
Right.
Right.
Exact change only.
Yeah, you put a quarter in there, you're not gonna see the rest.
Oh, I'm gonna try to read this question from Matthew, but I'm doing a couple different things, and one of
Weird
them is
how every episode we slip into back in my day.
My day.
well, when I was.
I remember back when all we had was wood burn in RPGs. You had to stoke the boiler before you could roll the dice.
I like you. You sound like old Smitty. Stan, again, you have outdone yourself. I will prepare this for the stream. It's very nice, and you may cause us some problems, but I'm all for it. I do want to say, Matthew Tyler says, any idea of when you plan to do updated stats and histories for the Alternatines, who are the other students from the second edition Hero High? So,
That would
wow.
be
So,
fun.
Battle Cry, Feline, Sloth, etc. And the second edition Hero High supplements, yearbook, villains, and exchange students. Wow, Matthew, well done. That's a good,
Yeah, we could absolutely put that on the list for things
voting?
to add to the Patreon.
Definitely.
Oh, hey, well, nice
Definitely.
suggestion. We'll be adding that to the vote that the top tiers will be voting on this week, right?
All right,
Nice.
Steve, you better get to
Right?
work updating those characters.
I am already adding them to the list.
Stan
The Alternatives
says
were a lot of fun to write, so
he
be
likes
great to
causing
update.
problems.
I do love Whoopant.
right? Who
Whoop
doesn't love
ant?
Whoop ant? I mean, come on.
That is amazing. Whoopant. I don't know why I have to say it like that, but
Yep.
what is Whoopant about?
I think he says that.
Whoop ant is a 13-year-old with the power to shrink and
leap.
fly, and yes, and jump really far.
I love it.
And he's still as strong
yes.
as a normal 13-year-old when he's shrunk.
Yeah, which, when you're that small is basically super strength.
Right, is really strong.
Alrighty, I'm pulling. Let's see. Stan, this is it's a little squozen.
Wozen?
I've squozen it, but you will most assuredly you will get it when you see it. This is so nice.
Stan's causing problems.
We need a good
Right.
product name for this. Liz says, I'd share a drawing, but my cat is giving me a penalty to art right now. I know that
Oh,
feeling.
That's what cats do.
That's what cats are all
I
about.
was going to work this morning, and then my dog sat on my lap, and
Right.
I mean, you can't do anything. It's illegal to move them.
It is.
It
is. It is.
It is.
It is a real problem. Let's see here. Making a couple changes. There we go. And transitioned to this. I don't know if you can see this on Crystal Screen, but basically available soon in the online store. It is a Crystal and Steve. Two of
Oh,
them.
no.
Absolutely beautiful. Coming
Wait, what
soon.
what have you done?
Soon to the store. And we needed like a
Not
name.
encouraged to play that way.
Really shouldn't.
No.
But I do.
We can't encourage Nicole this way.
Well, that's also true.
I love it. What do we call these? Green Ronin.
We call them non-existent.
Yeah, they don't need to be called anything, Troy, because they're never going to exist.
See, the more you protest, the more I'm motivated to
Lots of good names.
When's Charlotte Hamilton says, when's pre-order? When's pre-order? Send out signed copies. Absolutely. I love it.
Plus, you can't do it until they have the technology to do Steve's little girl.
Right.
Oh, they have it for sure. I love it. I think that they would definitely have to be life-size. Don't you think, Stan and fans? Everybody is...
No, I've seen where that
Ooh.
goes.
Hey,
Yeah,
listen,
right.
I'm only here to serve, and I'm telling you...
Like, it was bad enough when I was a body.
The chats are 100%. Can we have them as flat minis? I think that we can have a whole, variations on a theme. So, tokens...
I think what we have to do is order new art for Playboy and put these in the background.
Right. There we go.
Nice, absolutely nice. This is good stuff. Thank you, Stan. Always a delight to have you on, to join us, kind of watching us as we kind of goof around and share a little bit of info and to show your artwork and to give these to the business, which I love personally. You know what? Holy crap. Now, I don't mean to curse us. I don't mean to cause any commotion, but we started near on time with nary a tech issue. We also shared a bunch of information and a lot of transitions and all kinds of good stuff. And then, and now we are 5 minutes before we're done. I can't believe it. This is too it's too smooth. Can anything go wrong?
What?
I'm taunting you, Fate. I'm waiting for the ceiling to come crashing down or anything.
I'm glad I'm
and
well
that's
out
how
of...
Troy died. It was
that was exactly.
tragic.
I mean, not unexpected, but weird.
Weird.
Sooner than
I'm
we
glad
had
I'm well out of
arranged.
lightning bolt and ceiling collapsing range.
It's exactly.
Yeah, I'm worried because we live on the side of a hill and it's been raining, so Troy might have just triggered a landslide.
Yes, exactly. You know what? There is a question still on the field, and we've been called out. Jacob Blackmon says, "What did you all say about me before the show? What did you say? Do we want to let him in on it?
Do we
Or?
want to embarrass him?
Yeah, okay, are you kidding me?
We were saying he is a really pleasant man and a really prolific third-party publisher, and we need to have him on the show sometime.
That's exactly what we said. Do we want?
I mean, if you can clear some time in your schedule.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
We know you're basically as busy as Owen, and also illustrating half of Owen's material.
That's right. Owen has a cadre of those people, kind of, those artist people, just
Owen
arting,
attracts artists.
Yes, he does.
and just humans in general, right?
He's like a Renaissance patron, really.
He really is, and
With
just
dice.
a lover. Yes, yes, exactly. Because Owen and I get together on Thursday at 2 p.m. Pacific, right here on these very channels, and we do Thursday with Owen Casey Stevens.
Keep trying to show up, but every time I look up, it's like you're just wrapping up because I am bad at
Looking
not
up.
letting time. Yeah, I'm bad at looking up.
Yeah, no, I feel that for sure. Jacob, just to kind of tie a bow on that, if you are interested, give us a window of time, maybe on a Monday, in the this month, and we'd love to have you on. We really would. And you can either you can appear on camera, or you can have an artist drawing of yourself and be disembodied like myself. We can work that out, but we'd love to have you. Let's see. Scott Alfred says, "Great, one good stream on time, ready to leave, and now the multiverse is falling apart." That's right. The ceiling fell down and he became Flat Troy. Absolutely. So, thank you, Jacob. We'll look forward to you being in touch, and we'll look forward to talking to all of you because, friends, this is it. We're at the end of the show. I want to encourage everybody to go check out the Patreon, and that's patreon.com/mutants A&D Masterminds, and check out the tiers and kind of see what's going on. We'll be releasing the next stat block here in mere moments, and that'll be fun. And what did we say it was? Empath. Empath, yeah.
Yep.
Should be Empath this week.
That's right. Empath is up and ready to go, and you will no doubt have seen some of that, some of those updates on social media. We come to you every single Monday where we just talk about Mutants and Masterminds Monday with two of my favorite masterminds, Crystal and Steve. It is truly a delight to hang out and explore all this stuff, and maps, again, a passion, I think, of all of ours, and certainly of the chat. I want to thank everybody for watching. Anything else we want to add before we GTFO?
I mean, wear your mask still. And I mean, if you can, get your vaccine. If not, I mean, encourage others to.
Stay safe.
Stay safe, stay fun, and come back next Monday and hang out with us, 2 p.m. Pacific, here on Mutants and Masterminds Monday. We love it, and we love you. And with that, we bid you adieu with nary seconds to spare. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.